The classroom was quiet. Soft blue lights glowed from the ceiling, and rows of small alien children sat at their desks. Outside the tall glass walls, a silver city stretched across the horizon. Flying vehicles moved silently between the towers. Everything was calm. Everything was perfect. At the front of the room, Instructor Velra floated above the floor. Her thin eyes scanned the class as she spoke. "Today," she said in a soft, careful voice, "we will learn about the great victory, the day our galaxy became safe." The children listened quietly. They had heard this lesson many times before. Long ago, Velra continued, there was a dangerous species. They were violent, emotional, and unpredictable. They caused wars across the stars. So the Galactic Council made a hard decision. She paused. "We erased them completely." One small student raised his hand. He was smaller than the others, with soft gray skin and large silver eyes. His name was Luro. "Instructor," he asked, "what was their name?" The room suddenly felt colder. Velra's eyes narrowed. "That name is not spoken," she said. "It is not important. They are gone. You must forget them." Luro slowly lowered his hand, but he did not look convinced. That night, the school was dark and silent. Most of the students were asleep in their dorm rooms. The long hallways were empty, and the security lights glowed faintly along the walls. In one small room, Luro sat awake on his bed. He looked at the door to make sure it was closed. Then he reached under his pillow and pulled out a small object. It was old, very old, a small toy. It was shaped like a tiny human child, with soft fabric clothes and a smiling face. One arm was missing, and the colors were faded. It looked fragile, like it could fall apart at any moment. Luro held it carefully, like it was something sacred. He did not know where he got it. He only remembered finding it near the old storage wing of the school. It had been hidden behind a broken panel in the wall. When he first saw it, something strange happened. He felt warm, safe, like someone was protecting him. He looked at the toy now, his silver eyes glowing softly in the dark. Then he whispered very quietly, so no one could hear him, "Dear humans, please come back." He closed his eyes and held the toy close to his chest. "We don't know why everyone is afraid of you," he continued. "But I think you were kind." A small tear rolled down his cheek. "Please come back," he whispered again. Outside the door, a shadow moved. Instructor Velra had been walking down the hallway during her night inspection. She was about to pass Luro's room when she heard the faint whisper. She stopped. Her body froze. Slowly, she moved closer to the door and listened. Inside, the small voice spoke again. "Dear humans." Velra's eyes widened in horror. Her hands began to shake. That word, that forbidden word, had not been spoken in public for over 100 years. Not since the war. Not since the day the Council ordered all records destroyed. Not since the day humanity was erased from the stars. Velra stepped back from the door, her heart beating fast. "How?" she whispered to herself. "How does he know that name?" Inside the room, Luro gently placed the toy back under his pillow. He lay down and closed his eyes, still holding the edge of the pillow like it was something precious. Within minutes, he was asleep, peaceful. Outside, Velra stood in the hallway, frozen in fear. Because this was not the first time she had heard it. Over the last few weeks, more and more children had started whispering the same word. In their sleep, in their drawings, in their games, one single, forbidden name. Human. Velra looked down the empty hallway, her voice barely a breath. But no one ever told the children why the adults were so afraid of that name. The council chamber was silent. It was a vast circular room, carved from dark crystal and metal. At the center floated a glowing hologram of the galaxy. Hundreds of small lights marked different star systems. Some glowed bright blue. Others were soft green or silver, but near the outer edge of the map, there was a large dark space dot. No lights, no colonies, no life. That area was marked with a single word. Restricted. High Elder Tarek stood at the center platform. His long robes drifted gently in the air. Around him, 12 council members floated in their seats, watching the hologram. "We have a problem," Tarek said quietly. A tall insect-like counselor clicked his mandibles. "Is it another border conflict?" "No," Tarek's replied. "It is the children." The room grew still. Another counselor leaned forward. "Explain." Tarek's tapped the control panel. The hologram changed. Now it showed recordings from different alien worlds. In one clip, a small child was drawing on a wall. The drawing showed a tall, thin figure with 2 arms and 2 legs. A human shape. In another clip, a group of children were playing. One of them shouted, "I will be the human hero." In the last recording, a child whispered before sleeping, "Dear humans, protect us." The council chamber filled with uneasy murmurs. "This is impossible," one counselor said. All records were erased. "Every image, every story, every word," another added. "The name itself was banned." Tarek's nodded slowly. "Yes, and yet, the children still remember." An old gray-skinned counselor spoke in a tired voice. "Maybe it is time to speak of the past again." Several council members reacted with anger. "No," one shouted. "That war nearly destroyed the galaxy." "They were dangerous," another sighed. "Too emotional, too unpredictable. They had to be erased." At the edge of the chamber, a silent figure finally moved. General Kale. He was old now. His armor was dark and worn, covered in small marks from past battles. One of his eyes was artificial, glowing faintly. He had not spoken since the meeting began. Until now. "They were not monsters," Kale said quietly. All eyes turned to him. Tarek's frowned. "General, you of all beings should remember the destruction they caused." Kale looked at the dark region of the hologram. "I remember," he said. "I remember everything." The hologram changed again, showing old war footage. Human ships rough, uneven, and badly damaged fought against the smooth, advanced fleets of the Galactic Alliance. The human ships were slower, weaker, but they did not retreat. They kept fighting, one counselor whispered, even when defeat was certain. Another clip showed a human colony world. Explosions covered the surface. Alien warships filled the sky, yet human transports were launching full of civilians. They were evacuating their children. Kale said. The footage zoomed in on a human soldier. His armor was cracked. Smoke rose behind him. He was standing at the entrance of a transport ship, waving others inside. He stayed behind. The ship lifted off. Moments later, a bright flash covered the screen. The soldier disappeared. "They sacrificed entire worlds," Kale continued, "just to save a few ships." A counselor shook his head. "Desperation, nothing more." Kale's voice grew colder. "No, it was something else." Another clip appeared. A final human fleet, small and damaged, floated near the edge of known space. Alliance warships surrounded them from every direction. "They were trapped," Tarek said. "No escape routes, no reinforcements." The human commander appeared on screen. His face was tired but calm. "This is Captain Elias Ward of the United Earth Fleet," he said. "To the Galactic Council. We know this is the end." The council chamber remained silent as the recording played. "We only ask one thing," the human captain continued. "Spare the children, not just ours, all children. No matter what species they are." One counselor scoffed. "A useless request." "But," Kale's artificial eye flickered. "He was speaking to me," Kale said softly. The recording ended. The hologram returned to the dark, empty region of space. Silence filled the chamber. Finally Tarek spoke. "The humans were defeated. Their worlds were destroyed, their fleets wiped out, their history erased. He looked around at the council. Humanity is extinct, that is the truth. But Kale's voice broke the silence. Then why, he asked slowly, are our children whispering their name? No one answered because deep inside, they all feared the same thing. Maybe humanity had not truly disappeared. The council meeting ended in silence. No one argued. No one spoke. The elders slowly left the chamber, each one lost in their own thoughts. The word human still echoed in their minds like a ghost that refused to leave. General Kale was the last to go. He walked down a long metallic hallway, his footsteps slow and heavy. The lights above him flickered softly. This part of the station was old. Few people ever came here. At the end of the corridor was a small door. It had no sign, no guard, and no camera. Kale stopped in front of it. For a moment, he hesitated. His hand hovered over the control panel. His artificial eye glowed faintly in the darkness. Then he pressed the panel. The door slid open with a quiet hiss. Inside was a small, hidden room. It was not like the clean, perfect rooms of the council station. The walls here were plain metal. There were no decorations. No lights except one soft lamp in the center. And beneath that lamp was a glass case. Kale stepped closer. Inside the case was a human helmet. It was old and scratched. The paint was burned in places. One side was cracked, as if it had taken a direct hit. The symbol on the front was faded, but still visible. A small blue planet with a white ring around it. Earth. Kale stared at the helmet. His expression softened, and his shoulders dropped. You never left my mind, he whispered. Slowly, memories began to return. Many years ago, during the final days of the war, Kale's ship had been badly damaged. Flames filled the control room. Warning alarms screamed in every direction. Engines offline. One officer shouted, shields failing. Another cried. Kale tried to stand, but the ship shook violently. An explosion threw him against the wall. His helmet cracked and his vision went dark. When he woke up, everything was quiet. Smoke drifted through the broken hull. The air was cold. Most of his crew were gone. He tried to move, but pain shot through his body. Then he heard footsteps. Heavy, slow, careful. Kale forced his eyes open. Through the smoke, he saw a figure, a human soldier. The soldier's armor was damaged. One arm was bleeding. His helmet was broken, showing part of his tired face. But his eyes were calm. Kale tried to reach for his weapon. The human raised both hands. It's over, the soldier said in a low voice. No more fighting. Kale did not trust him. Humans were supposed to be dangerous, violent, and cruel. But the soldier did something unexpected. He knelt down beside Kale and checked his wounds. You're still alive, the human said. That's good. Kale stared at him in confusion. Why, help me? He asked weakly. The human gave a small, tired smile. Because someone has to, he said. The soldier lifted Kale onto his shoulders. Every step looked painful, but he kept moving. He carried the alien general through the broken ship, past fire and falling metal. At the escape pod, the human carefully placed Kale inside. Kale grabbed the soldier's arm. Come with me, he said. You'll die out there. The human shook his head. No time. Others need help too. He stepped back and began to close the pod door. Kale felt something strange in his chest. Something he had never felt during the war. Fear. Wait, Kale said. Your name, what is it? The human paused. Daniel, he replied. The pod door began to close. Then Daniel leaned closer and said his final words. Take care of the children, all children. The door sealed. The pod launched into space. Moments later, Kale saw the human ship explode behind him. Daniel was gone. The memory faded. Kale stood in the small room. Staring at the cracked human helmet, his hands were trembling. "They called you monsters," he whispered. "But you saved my life." He reached out and gently touched the glass case. Suddenly, there was a soft knock at the door behind him. Cale quickly turned. The door slid open. A small figure stood there. It was his granddaughter, Lyra. Her large eyes looked up at him with innocent curiosity. In her hands, she held a thin drawing tablet. "Grandfather," she said softly, "can I show you something?" Cale nodded slowly. Lyra walked closer and held up the tablet. On the screen was a simple drawing, a tall figure with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a round head. It was standing under a bright blue sky, holding the hand of a small alien child. At the top of the drawing, a single word was written in uneven letters. Come, and Cale's heart felt like it stopped. He looked at the drawing, then at the old human helmet. And for the first time in many years, he felt truly afraid. The first reports came from a small farming moon. It was a peaceful place, far from the old battle zones. The sky was always clear, and the fields glowed with soft purple light at night. Nothing strange ever happened there, until the children started talking about a place called Earth. At first, the adults thought it was just a game. Children often invented new words. But soon, the stories became too similar. A young teacher named Saren called a meeting with the parents. "They are all describing the same place," she explained nervously. "Green ground, blue sky, and warm sunlight. But our world has no green fields. We have only purple crops." One parent frowned. "Maybe they saw it in an old file or a forgotten story." Saren shook her head. "There are no records of such a place. I checked the entire school archive." Another parent crossed his arms. "Then where are they learning it from?" No one had an answer. That same night, in a small sleeping chamber, a group of children lay in their beds. Soft lights glowed above them, imitating stars. Most of them were already asleep. But one small child suddenly sat up. Her eyes were still closed. "I see it again," she whispered. Another child turned toward her. "The blue world?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. The one with water everywhere." "What are the tall figures doing?" the other child asked. "They are smiling," she said softly. "They are building something. And they keep looking at the sky, like they are waiting for someone." The other children listened quietly. One of them whispered, "Are they dangerous?" The girl shook her head. "No," she said. "They feel safe." Across the galaxy, similar scenes were happening. On a cold mining planet, a child drew a picture of a large yellow sun. His parents stared at the drawing in confusion. Their planet orbited a small white star. On a floating ocean city, a group of children played a game. They pretended to build small houses out of sand. "What are you making?" an adult asked. "A beach," one child replied. "What is a beach?" The child smiled. "It's where the humans used to walk." The adult felt a chill run through his body. Back on the council station, scientists gathered in a large research hall. Dozens of screens floated in the air, each one showing recordings of alien children from different planets. All of them were talking about the same things: blue skies, green trees, warm sunlight, and humans. Chief Scientist Ral spoke in a worried voice. "These dreams are not random. They are too similar, too detailed." Another scientist nodded. "We checked their memories. None of them have ever seen such images before." Ral looked at the Veo screen, where a small alien child was drawing a human figure with a gentle smile. "Then where are these images coming from?" he whispered. No one answered. In his private chamber, General Cale sat with his granddaughter Lyra. She was lying on the floor, drawing again. "What are you making now?" Cale asked. "A place from my dream," she replied. He looked at the tablet. This time the drawing showed a wide green field. A few tall trees stood in the distance, and near them, several humans were sitting with alien children, laughing together. Kale felt his chest tighten. "Did someone show you this place?" he asked gently. Lyra shook her head. "No, I just see it when I sleep. What do the humans say in your dream?" She smiled softly. "They say we are not alone," she replied. "They say the stars are full of friends." Kale closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered the human soldier, Daniel, and his final words, "Take care of the children, all children." When Kale opened his eyes again, Lyra was looking at him. "Grandfather," she said, "why do the adults look scared when we talk about humans?" Kale did not know what to say, because the truth was too heavy for a child. "Some memories hurt," he said quietly. Lyra tilted her head. "But the humans in my dreams are kind." Kale looked at the drawing again. "Yes," he whispered, "some of them were." Later that night, the scientists made a shocking discovery. Chief Scientist Ral stared at his console, his eyes wide. "There's a pattern," he said. The other scientists gathered around him. "A signal," Ral continued. "Very old, very weak, but still active. Where is it coming from?" someone asked. Ral swallowed slowly. "From the restricted zone," he said. "From the space where humanity once lived." Silence filled the room, because if a signal was still coming from that dark region of space, then maybe the humans had not vanished as completely as everyone believed. The council chamber was full again. This time, the air felt heavier. No one spoke as the scientists prepared their report. The large hologram of the galaxy floated in the center of the room, glowing softly. But now something was different. In the dark restricted region where humanity once lived, a small blinking light had appeared. Chief Scientist Ral stepped forward. His hands were shaking. "We have confirmed it," he said. "The signal is real." A counselor leaned forward. "From where exactly?" Ral pointed at the hologram. The small light blinked again. "From the outer edge of the old human territory. It is coming from a single source. Something artificial." "Impossible," another counselor said. "All human technology was destroyed," Ral swallowed. "Not all of it." The room filled with quiet murmurs. General Kale stood near the back of the chamber. His eyes were fixed on the blinking light. "What kind of signal is it?" he asked. Ral hesitated. "That is the strange part. It is not a weapon signal, not a distress call either." "Then, what is it?" the High Elder demanded. Ral took a deep breath. "It is a broadcast meant for children." The room went silent. Ral tapped the control panel. The hologram changed, and a soft audio recording filled the chamber. A gentle, human voice began to speak. "Hello, little one. If you are hearing this, it means we are gone." The council members stiffened. The voice continued, calm and warm. "But that does not mean we stopped caring. The universe is a big place, and it can feel cold sometimes. So we made this message for you." A few counselors looked uncomfortable. Some even looked ashamed. "What is this?" one whispered. Ral answered quietly. "It is a memory signal. A collection of stories, songs, and lessons. It repeats again and again across space." The voice in the recording continued. "If you ever feel afraid, remember this. Kindness is stronger than fear. Helping someone is never a mistake." General Kale's artificial eye flickered. The words felt familiar. Very familiar. Another counselor slammed his hand against his seat. "This is dangerous," he said. "Human influence is spreading again. We must destroy the signal immediately." Several others nodded. "Yes, we ended them once. We can do it again." But Kale stepped forward. "No." The single word echoed through the chamber. All eyes turned toward him. High Elder Terex frowned. "Explain yourself, General." Kale looked at the hologram. at the small blinking light in the darkness. "They are not attacking us," he said. "They are not threatening us. They are speaking to children." "That is exactly the problem," another counselor snapped. "They are shaping young minds." Kale's voice grew firmer. "Listen to the message. Really listen. There is no hate in it, no anger, only kindness." The council chamber fell quiet again, because deep down they knew he was right. Ral played another part of the signal. This time, soft music filled the air. It was simple and slow, like a lullaby. Then another human voice spoke. This one sounded like a child. "My mom says the stars are full of friends. Even if we never meet them, we should still be kind to them." A counselor looked down at the floor. Another closed his eyes. The words were too gentle, too human. Kale stepped into the center of the chamber. "There is something you all need to know," he said. The room turned toward him. During the final battle, the humans knew they would lose. They had no chance of survival. But instead of building more weapons, they built this. He pointed at the blinking signal. A message for the future, not just for their own children, but for all children. Terex's voice was quiet. Why would they do that? Kale remembered Daniel's face, the tired smile, the calm eyes. "Because that is who they were," he said softly. Silence filled the chamber once more. Then Ral spoke again. "There is more. The signal is not only sound. It contains images and stories too." He tapped the panel, and a new hologram appeared. It showed humans helping alien species. A human medic treating a wounded alien soldier. A human child sharing food with a strange creature. A group of humans building shelters after a disaster on an alien world. "These are real records," Ral said. "They are not propaganda. They are old historical files." The council members stared at the images. The species they called monsters looked more like protectors. Finally, Terex spoke. "So this is what our children are seeing in their dreams," he said. Ral nodded. "Yes, the signal is reaching them." Slowly but clearly, Terex looked at the dark region of space. "And it never stopped broadcasting?" Ral shook his head. "No, Elder. It has been repeating for over 100 years. General Kale whispered the words that haunted everyone in the chamber. So even in extinction, they were still thinking about the children. And for the first time since the war ended, the council began to wonder if destroying humanity had been their greatest mistake. The exploration ship moved slowly through the dark region of space. No stars shone here, no signals, no colonies. This was the place the galaxy had erased from its maps, the place where humanity once lived. Inside the ship, the bridge was silent. The crew watched the main screen as a small blinking light appeared in the distance. "That is the source of the signal," Chief Scientist Ral said quietly. General Kale stood beside him, his arms behind his back. His eyes were fixed on the screen. "Move closer," he ordered. The ship glided forward. As the darkness cleared, a small object came into view. It was old and worn, floating alone in empty space. It was a satellite. Its surface was covered in scratches and burn marks. One of its solar panels was broken. The paint was faded, and most of the markings were gone. But one symbol was still visible. A small blue planet with a white ring around it. Earth, Ral swallowed. "It's still working after all these years." Kale nodded slowly. Humans built things to last. The ship docked with the satellite. A small team entered through a maintenance hatch. Dust floated in the air. The inside was dark, except for a single blinking console. Ral walked toward it carefully. "The power core is almost empty," he said, "but it is still transmitting." Kale looked around the small metal room. Everything was simple. No advanced alien technology. Just basic controls, wires, and a small recording unit. "Can we play the main message?" Kale asked. Ral nodded. Yes, he pressed a button. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the screen flickered to life. A human woman appeared on the screen. She was sitting in a small room. Behind her was a window showing the stars. She looked tired, but her eyes were gentle. She gave a soft smile. "Hello," she said. "If you're seeing this, then it means our plan worked." Cale felt his chest tighten. The woman continued. "My name is Elena Ward. I am a mother and a teacher, and this message is for the children of the future." The crew listened in complete silence. "We don't know who you are," she said. "You might be human, you might be something else. But if you are a child, then this message is for you." Her voice was calm, like she was telling a bedtime story. "The universe can be a scary place. There will be wars. There will be fear. There will be times when you feel alone." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "But kindness is stronger than fear." Ral's eyes filled with moisture. Elena smiled softly. "If we are gone, if humanity is only a memory, then promise us one thing." She took a deep breath. "Help each other, protect the weak. Be brave, even when you are scared." Cale remembered Daniel's last words. "Take care of the children, all children." Elena's voice became softer. "That is what it means to be human, not your body, not your planet, not your name." She placed her hand over her heart. "It's this, the choice to care." The screen flickered again. Behind Elena, a small child ran into the room. A little human boy, laughing. "Mom," he said, "are you still recording?" Elena laughed gently. "Yes, sweetheart." The boy waved at the camera. "Hi, future people," he said. "Be nice to each other, okay?" Several alien crew members looked away. The scene felt too personal, too real. Elena pulled the boy into a hug. "Go back to your room," she said softly. "I'll be there soon." The boy nodded and ran off. Elena looked back at the camera. Her smile faded slightly. "If you are hearing this," she whispered, "then we couldn't stop the war. But maybe this message can stop the next one." The screen began to flicker harder. "Goodbye," she said. "And thank you for listening." The recording ended. Silence filled the small satellite. No one spoke. Even the hum of the machines felt quieter. One of the younger crew members wiped his eyes. "She knew they were going to die," he whispered, "and she still made a message for strangers." Cale stared at the dark screen. "They didn't build weapons," he said. "They built a legacy." Ral checked the console again. "The power core is almost empty," he said. "The signal will stop soon." Cale stepped closer to the console. "Can we copy the message?" he asked. Ral nodded. "Yes, we can send it across the entire galaxy." Cale looked at the faded Earth symbol on the wall. "Do it," he said. Hours later, the message spread across alien worlds. In homes, schools, and cities, the recording began to play. Children watched the human woman and her son. They listened to her words, and many of them did the same thing at the same time. They closed their eyes and whispered a quiet prayer. "Thank you, humans." The message spread across the galaxy in a single cycle. From the bright capital worlds to the smallest farming moons, the human recording played on public screens, inside homes, and in quiet classrooms. No one stopped it. This time, the council did not try to erase it. They watched, they listened, and they understood. In a large classroom on the council station, Instructor Velra stood in front of her students once again. But this lesson was different. Behind her, on the main screen, was the image of the human woman, Elena Ward. Her face was calm. Her eyes were kind. The children sat quietly, their silver and golden eyes fixed on the screen. Velra took a slow breath. "Today," she said gently, "we will speak about humanity." No one gasped. No one looked afraid. Instead, several children smiled. Luro, sitting in the front row, held his small human toy tightly in his hands. Velra continued. Long ago, there was a species called humans. They were not perfect. They made mistakes. They fought wars. She paused, but they also showed great courage. They protected others, and even at the end, they chose kindness. The children listened carefully. One small student raised her hand. Are they really gone? She asked. Velra looked at the image of Earth on the screen. We do not know, she answered honestly, but their message is still with us. Luro looked up and spoke softly. Then maybe being human is not about being alive, he said. Maybe it is about how you act. Velra felt something warm in her chest. Yes, she said quietly. Maybe it is. In the council chamber, High Elder Terek stood before the other leaders. The hologram of the galaxy floated between them. The dark restricted zone was still there, but the word restricted had been removed. Terek spoke with a steady voice. We tried to erase them from history, he said. We believed that by removing their name, we would remove their influence. He looked around the chamber. We were wrong. General Kale stood beside him. The children have shown us something, Kale said. They were not afraid of the human message. They were inspired by it. One counselor nodded slowly. Our children are calmer, she admitted. They are helping each other more. Another added, conflicts in the lower sectors have decreased. The message is changing behavior. Terex looked at the stars. Then, let it change us too, he said. He raised his hand. From this day forward, human history will be restored to the archives. Their message will be taught in every school. The chamber was silent for a moment. Then one by one, the council members lowered their heads in agreement. The vote passed. On the farming moon where the dreams first began, children gathered in an open field. The sky above them was purple, not blue. But tonight, small lights filled the air. Lantern drones floated upward, glowing softly. Lyra stood beside her grandfather, General Kale. Grandfather, she said, looking at the lights. Do you think the humans can see us? Kale looked up at the stars. I don't know, he said. Lyra closed her eyes and whispered quietly, Dear humans, we will take care of the children too. Around her, other children did the same. Soft voices rose into the night. Not out of fear, not out of worship, but out of gratitude. Far away, in the dark region of space, the old satellite gave one final pulse. Its power core flickered weakly. The last signal left its transmitter and traveled into the endless stars. Then the light went out. The satellite drifted in silence. Its mission complete. Back in the classroom, Velra wrote new words on the board. Not great victory, not extinct species. She wrote the human legacy under it. She added one simple sentence. Kindness is stronger than fear. Luro looked at the words and smiled. For the first time, the name human was not spoken in secret. It was spoken with respect. Years later, alien explorers would travel beyond the old war zones. They would search distant systems, and whenever they faced danger, whenever fear tried to control them, they would remember the message from a dying world. Help each other. Protect the weak. Be brave, even when you are scared. Humanity had fallen. Their cities were gone. Their fleets were dust. Their planet was silent, but something greater survived. Not their bodies, not their empire, not their name alone. Their choice. And across the galaxy, in the hearts of children who had never seen Earth, that choice lived on. Humanity was erased from the stars. But being human had just begun.